Tonight, we'll be having the workshop Speaking Through Their Hearts and Minds, Language Access at Home for Deaf and Hard of Hearing Students. My name is Carson Chodos. I am the Director of Disability Culture, and it is my honor to welcome and to present our presenter for tonight, Anika. She is a special education consultant I've had the absolute pleasure of working closely with for a year, and it's been my honor to let her run this workshop tonight.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Anika. I am deaf. I grew up here in New York City my whole life. Now I work for a special education organization for almost a year. And I really have a heart for deaf and hard of hearing children. And I want to make sure they have all the resources they need, everything possible. That's why I wanted to run this workshop for them. So make sure that families can meet each other as well, have a network, and learn things together. Perfect. So I want to start off with supports for deaf and hard of hearing children at an early age. So supporting this comes with a lot of early language exposure. You want to have, parents want to use strategies to use sign language. That helps connect with the children better. It helps reduce the frustration of the child. Sign language allows children to express their emotions, their desires, what they want. And having a language at an early age is also good for cognitive development. So there are so many benefits to having early language exposure at this young age. Now I want to talk a little bit about language deprivation. It's a very serious issue. So many deaf children experience language deprivation due to a lack of access to language. They don't have that access at an early age. So according to the National Institute of the Deaf, as many as 70% are deprived of language. So language skills are delayed, and that can also lead to developmental delays. So language deprivation has potential impacts on mental health. When children are unable to express their feelings and thoughts, it increases behaviors. So communication barriers can impact academic performance in schools later on. So language deprivation is a really serious issue for many deaf and hard of hearing children, and it impacts them socially, emotionally, and academically. You can go to the next slide. Here I want to talk about something that's called dinner table syndrome. This is a colloquial term that we use to describe when children feel excluded at the dinner table. Many children tend to want to ask questions about what's being said, what the family's talking about. They feel lonely and excluded during these family conversations at dinner time. And that is a very common experience for many deaf and hard of hearing children, to ask what's going on, and they are trying to figure out, you want to figure out a way for your deaf and hard of hearing child to be included. You want them to be able to read. You want them to be able to access information, to know what they want. So any way to gesture, to include your children, to show them pictures will help. So there's an article here, and you can see it in the chat, and that will give you more information on this occurrence that happens. And then how to resolve that in your family. If you have a deaf and hard of hearing child, how to make them feel more included at the family dinner table and other family functions. Okay, next slide. Thank you. So there are so many benefits to learning sign language. It grows a close bond between parent and child. You communicate with each other. The child can also express their needs, what they want, all the things they're thinking about. They don't have to feel that frustration they would by not having the parents understand what they want. Also, it provides a more inclusive environment at home. It's a really amazing benefit in terms of having that open, direct communication. It helps them so much to feel connected at home and in the community. Great. Now, here are some resources to learn sign language. I put several here. We have the Lingvano app. That's a really good app that you could download and you could learn basic signs to communicate with family members, friends, kids. You can all learn together as a family. You can also take sign language courses at the Sign Language Center in New York City. They have in-person classes and classes through Zoom. And they have really exceptional deaf professors who are proficient at teaching sign language. You could also take an online course from a deaf professor. There are also colleges and universities here in New York City that offer courses in ASL. Or you could even get a private one-on-one tutor that could help you with sign language. So there are so many different options now available for parents. Now understand that each child is really unique. Some children are born deaf. Some children become deafened later or lose their hearing later. Some prefer only to use sign language, and some prefer a mix of spoken language and sign language. So it's not only deaf children who use ASL, but also children with autism who are nonverbal. They often use sign language, and that's a great benefit for them to communicate, have less frustration and more communication in class. Great.
Before I jump on, this is so exciting, Anika. Do you want to share for your own personal story here? Did you have anything to share about your experience with ASL as a child?
Yeah, so as a deaf child, I would say it was a little bit different at that time. We didn't have as many resources. I remember we didn't have the same technology, so it was more frustrating. I learned ASL later at age 6, so I did face a lot of frustrations before then, but it really helped me once I picked up sign language. And I was able to learn speech and reading and writing much easier then as well because I had that foundation of language. Before that, I really struggled. My mom said I wasn't having a lot of academic success before that, but now there's so much technology, so many different approaches. Technology has advanced a lot since then. So right now, it's a great benefit that we have all these resources we can access to learn sign language.
I love that. Thank you for sharing, Anika. To share personally from me too, because we want to connect with you all personally. After this presentation, my youngest child is hearing, and we are all hearing family, but we all use ASL in our household because she has low muscle tone and her tongue and her speech has significant delays. And so my daughter, we don't believe, is going to be a speaking child. And so we're all using ASL so that my youngest baby, can all talk to us. So there's really a lot of universal application, even in very unique circumstances. So Anika, thank you for sharing these applications. There's a couple more slides for the folks who just joined us. Hello, welcome everyone. We're so excited to have you here. We'll have a conversation after this presentation.
Okay, so I also wanted to share different options to communicate with your child. This is called total communication. You can use gestures. You can also use pictures and visuals. You can use pictures of people, pictures of facial emotions, people happy, sad, things that gestures, things that are in your environment. You can also do a speech to text, and so the child can read. There's all different ways to communicate with your child. I used to, when I was growing up at that time, I struggled a lot to communicate. I hadn't learned ASL yet. And my parents used really strong facial expressions and gestures with me to ensure that I understood what they were saying, what their point was. So what I want to communicate to you is that there's always options to communicate through pictures and gestures and facial expressions. Okay, next slide. And here are some books that I think are really fantastic to read with your child. They're about ASL. You don't have to buy all of them, but it's this first one, The Silence Between Us by Alison Gervais. Dad and Me in the Morning. That's by Patricia Lakin. And that's a deaf friend, about making a deaf friend and all of that. My Deaf Friend, You Can Do Anything, Tanisha Osby. And there's also a video that you can sign with. Moses Goes to a Concert. This is by Isaac Millman. There's also an ASL read aloud, Boy by Phil Cummings and Shane DeVries. So all of these books, Moses Goes to School, they're really fantastic. Some of them have videos that are signed in ASL as well, so you can read along and then also watch the ASL video. Parents can learn the signs that match the story just as well as the children can. There are also some really fantastic social media pages. You can see the stories of families and friends talking about their experience of learning sign, having a deaf child or a friend, and learning how to communicate with them. So signing is very close to my heart, and I appreciate that these Instagram influencers are showing deaf families and showing communication. Two of them are deaf. Well, one is deaf and one is hard of hearing, and they have deaf and hard of hearing children. So it shows you a little slice of their life. The third one is a couple with deaf children. The wife is hearing and the husband is deaf, and they have hearing children. The last one is Our Signed World, and it's the different lifestyles of families who are deaf, uh, another family that has deaf and hard of hearing family members, and then a hearing family, hearing parents with deaf kids. So you see different types of families with different deaf and hard of hearing family members. Maybe the parents are deaf in one of them, or the children are deaf. So you get to see all these types of lifestyles. Okay, so now I'm going to open it up to any questions. Thank you so much. I know I gave you a lot of information, but I just wanted to give you a general overview, some ideas, some tips about what to do with your deaf and hard of hearing child, how to improve their education, how to improve communication in the family. And I want to open it up to any questions. Thank you so much.